Hey, AP students, we are now on Confucianism. So go in your packet and find Confucianism, and let's talk about this. Our first one is Kung Fu Su. Kung Fu Su, who is Confucius. That's who he is. It is Confucius right there. There we see him. Confucius, right there. There he is. He is an ancient philosopher in China who begins Confucianism. So Confucianism is basically this idea that you're going to have ultimate respect for the people around you. You'll honor ceremonies. You will honor respect. You will honor your leaders. You will honor your parents. If you're a parent, you will treat your kids with respect. It follows the 5 basic relationships that you are to follow. Much of it, again, has to do with the word respect and following order. Confucius was a bureaucrat, pretty much. He worked in the government, was never able to raise to the level that he wanted to raise to, and his followers followed him and wrote a book called the Analects. He didn't write it, they wrote it, a collection of all his sayings. It was spread on in China, and it became part of Confucianism, which became how China ruled. It led to an examination system to have jobs, and just basically rules of life that you were supposed to follow. And a really big rule, which we're going to get to next in Confucius, is filial piety. Historical significance, Confucianism is still around to this day and guides a lot of China, which will become like the biggest empire in the world and stays strong for thousands of years in AP. It's super huge. And Confucius basically sets the tone of respect, law, and follow for China, which is the Middle Kingdom, one of the most powerful empires of the classical era, and almost every era after that. Filial piety goes right along with Confucianism. It is the right treatment and showing an absolute reverence and respect, especially if you're younger, for those who are older than you. It is a deep form of respect that you're supposed to have. And if you're older, it also means you're supposed to treat younger people well and teach them. Filial piety is a big concept that continues in China throughout the Han Dynasty into other dynasties like the Ming Dynasty. It's very significant, and it gets carried on. And it means you will listen to your leader. You will listen to the emperor. You will listen to your father. You will listen to your mother. It is also a little more sexist. You'll probably listen to your father more than your mother. But filial piety becomes very important in China. It is a deep level of respect. And I just realized I missed one right there. If you're looking on your sheet, you're like, hey, Mr. Wood, you missed the 5 basic relationships of Confucianism, and there they are. So let's take a look at that real quick. If you want to, you can pause the video and take a look at them right there. These are the 5 basic relationships in Confucianism: father and son, to an elder, a husband and wife, friend to friend, ruler and subjects. You're supposed to follow these 5 basic relationships in Confucianism, and this will allow the Chinese society to have rules and order. Remember, Confucianism is not a religion, it's a philosophy. It's what you're supposed to follow. There's no like God figure that's supposed to be in it. Confucius isn't seen as a god. He's not like Buddha who shows you the way to get to nirvana. He's just telling you this is the way you should live your life, and this is the way you should govern, and this works in China for hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of years. Mencius, and I know I'm saying that wrong, Mencius is basically the number 2 guy in Confucianism. He comes after Confucius, spreads the words of Confucius in the Analects, and helps establish it as a force in China, as something to follow. He is seen as the number 2 person, and Confucianism will spread in his lifetime and beyond, and eventually Confucianism will become how China runs a lot of the government and their empires from the Han and beyond. And just wait, there's a cool China song we're going to sing about the empires. Oh, you're going to love it. Well, not as many words in this one, only 5, huh? The Analects. The Analects is the book of Confucianism. It is the book, a collection of Confucius's sayings, what he said. He didn't write it down, his followers did. And it was spread on his wisdom. Often it'll say like the master says, then it will give like advice for how to live. We're going to go over some as a primary source. Primary source readings. Oh, they're so much fun, aren't they? Yeah, thank you, AP. Anyway, so we're going to look at those when we get in there, but it is basically the Analects is the collection of Confucius sayings. Very significant, because it basically spreads Confucianism, which will be very important in Chinese empires, which will be around for hundreds and hundreds of years. You'll see when we get to the China song. Trust me. Hey, I think it's time for some Taoism. So this video has both Confucianism and Daoism. There's only 3 words for Daoism. So Daoism is seen as the way. Okay, what does that mean? All right. The way pretty much means the way you're supposed to live. You're supposed to live with nature. Confucianism is all about being educated, having these rules to follow, having these right relationships. Taoism's like, hey, can't we just chill, man, and just be who we are? You know, yin and yang, man. Like, we're all just supposed to live in peace and be in nature. Let's go for a walk. Let's read some of Lao Tzu, read some Taoism, and just chill, man. We don't have to build all these things. Just live with nature and just be. All right, these guys are hippies. Anyway, so they're pretty much the hippies of China. They go against Confucianism, which has rules. You need to follow this, 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 and this. Taoism's like the reaction to that. Like, chill out, man, and just be. Kind of like Buddhism a little bit, but not quite. Anyway, so that's Taoism. Think of them as more of the hippies, go with the flow, live with nature. I want to be like the clouds. Where Confucianism's like, no, damn it, you're going to listen to your dad, you're going to listen to the king, you're going to listen to the ruler, you're going to respect them, like it or not. So, Tao is the way. So why is it significant? It exists in China and continues on in China to this day, for number 1. It is the complement of Confucianism. It goes along and stays in Confucianism in the empire, with Confucianism in the Chinese Empire for hundreds of years. It's kind of a religion, kind of not. Some people bring in gods to Taoism and some don't. But Tao is the way you're supposed to live. Oh, just to note, Tao sometimes spelt with a D, sometimes spelt with a T. It's the same word. So if it's D-A-O or T-A-O, it's the same thing. This book, Tao Te Ching, is sometimes spelled with a T, sometimes spelled with a D. So Tao Te Ching was a book by Lao Tzu. Hey, let's do 2 for 1. 2 words at once, huh? We'll do both Lao Tzu and Tao Te Ching right now. Tao Te Ching was a book that was written by the followers of Lao Tzu, a collection of his sayings that is supposed to get you to reach Tao, or the way. You're supposed to read these. It talks about the power of nature, the power of following your own inner Tao, and just listening to yourself and find out what is it that you are supposed to do, and just sit and think about that and have a nice walk through the woods while you do that. Lao Tzu is the founder of Taoism, and he sets up this philosophy which is significant along with Tao Te Ching because it goes for hundreds and hundreds of years in China, which establishes empires that go on basically forever until almost now. And it continues to stay and come back in China, and it's a complement to Confucianism. And we're going to stop it there, 2 for 1. Good deal. Good deal.